Hi VC, this is Rob here with another video, and this video is a contest entry for Paul at 33 and a third. He's reached 333 subscribers. I think he's over that now. So for his contest he wanted us to talk about cover versions. He wanted us to show a cover version which is inferior of the original, a cover version which is as good, and a cover version which is better than the original. So I thought I'd attempt this. It takes a little bit of planning this. It's not an easy challenge really. I mean, am I a lover of cover versions? As a rule, no. I always think they're a little bit lazy. There are the odd exception, which I'm going to show in this video. But as a rule, I think cover versions are awful. I mean, who can ever forget, you know, the cover version of Anarchy in the UK by Mel C, McFly doing Teenage Kicks, Paul Young doing Love Will Tear Us Apart. I mean, the list is endless of horrific cover versions. And in the UK, what we used to get is charity singles that were pretty lazy cover versions, and they used to get to number one. And this is case in point, and it's Dancing in the Street by Mick Jagger and David Bowie, and this was number one in I think it was 85, and this was all wrapped up with Live Aid. So you've got, you know, David Bowie, can't do any wrong, can he? Mick Jagger, can't do any wrong. Put them both together, and what do you get? You get this mess. So yeah, Dancing in the Streets. I mean, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas, yeah, great song, great version, and it's the only version. I have done a little bit of research, and there's some pretty good versions of Dancing in the Street. The Grateful Dead did a version of it. The Kinks have done a version of it. So there are some pretty good versions of Dancing in the Street. Another cover version that I didn't like was, I mean, this is Rolls Royce, and Paul Weller did a version of Wishing on a Star, which you know, I wish he'd never made it, because it doesn't really do justice to the original. Now, for my worst ever cover version, I'm going to choose HQ Park. So yeah, the Small Faces and HQ Park. And in the mid-90s in the UK was a band called M People, and they did a horrific dance version of HQ Park. So that's going to be my choice as the worst ever cover version. Now, I mean, you make mistakes when you buy vinyl. I mean, a couple of months ago I bought this with a little help from my friends, which is, again, this is kind of a charity scenario. The Flaming Lips, and yeah, this is a Flaming Nightmare. It's, I mean, I haven't even got Sgt. Pepper's, so what possessed me to buy this, heaven knows. You know, sometimes I have these brainwaves. There's a couple of decent tracks on this album, but for someone who's not a fan of Sgt. Pepper's, then what possessed me to get it, I don't know. I think maybe it was the artwork. You know, typical Flaming Lips. But yeah, I mean, I've got an album here. This is the best covers album of all time, and it's Sowing the Seeds of Love by Tears for Fears. And this is like a Beatles covers album. There's no tracks by the Beatles on it, but it just sounds like the Beatles. But you know, this is my favourite Beatles album. I think, you know, it's probably in my top 10 albums of all time. But it sounds like the Beatles. But like I say, it's my favourite Beatles album. So yeah, Tears for Fears and Sowing the Seeds of Love. Now, talking about the Beatles, this album, a lot of sort of soul artists covered the Beatles, and they did a pretty good job. I mean, on this album we've got Aretha Franklin singing Eleanor Rigby, and we have Wilson Pickett doing Hey Jude. And yeah, a lot of the Beatles songs lend themselves to cover versions. So I'll choose one in a minute which is relevant. Now, I've got a few here that are, I think, cover versions which are as good as the original. So we've got The Jam and Davy Watts, the Kinks song. So I think that's as good. And we've also got Earth, Wind and Fire with Got to Get You Into My Life, which of course is on Revolver. And I think Got to Get You Into My Life by Earth, Wind and Fire is as good as the Beatles version. But for my version that's as good, I'm going to choose Grace Jones. Now, this is a double A side, and it's She's Lost Control by Joy Division and Private Life, which is a song on this Pretenders album. So yeah, the first Pretenders album has got Private Life on it, and Private Life by Grace Jones I think is as good as the Pretenders version. Now, this is a really difficult part because I've got to choose cover versions that I think are actually better. So I'm going to go through a few and I'll choose my one at the end that I think is the winner. So Blancmange did a cover of The Day Before You Came by ABBA, and when I heard the Blancmange version I wasn't aware that it was an ABBA song, and I love that song. I've spoke about it before in my videos, just about meeting somebody really special and the mundane things you do on the day you meet them. It's a great song. Of course, The Byrds with Mr. Tambourine Man is certainly on a par, I think, with the Bob Dylan version. Now, it gets a bit more difficult here. Billy Bragg did a song called New England. This is off Life's a Riot with Spy vs Spy, and this was Billy Bragg's first album. And on here there's a song called New England, which Kirsty MacColl did a version for. I think it was in about 83, it got in the charts, and it's just a lovely, lovely song, and when Kirsty sung it, just gave it a fresher feeling, so I think that's certainly better than the original. Now, this is a toss-up, but Valerie by Amy Winehouse, originally of course done by the Zootons, but the version by Amy Winehouse, I mean I used to DJ, and I used to love putting Valerie on because the dance floor would just be full. It's just a great sounding song. Mark Ronson mixed it, and it's still a dance floor filler now. So yeah, Amy Winehouse and Valerie. But my winner is Billy Paul and his version of Your Song. So yeah, Billy Paul, of course, he died quite recently. This is a great album. There's a few cover versions on here. It's Too Late, the Carole King song, and Let's Stay Together. But his version of Your Song, I love it. I've always really liked it. Of course, originally done by Elton John, and the Elton John version is a good song, a good version, of course, the original. But Billy Paul's version, just something great about his vocal. So Billy Paul actually did a really good cover of Let 'Em In, the Wings song as well. So I think my cat's going to come. My cat's here. You can't see her. Anyway, you see her tail. There she is. Thanks for watching my video. Like I say, this is a contest entry for Paul, 33 1/3. If you're not aware of Paul's channel, he's in Northern Ireland. He's a big David Bowie fan. He recently did a ranking video on Kate Bush. He's a really interesting channel. He's a similar age to myself, so we do crossover with our musical taste. But yeah, it's a real good channel. If you're not aware of him, I really recommend you go and check him out. So it's 33 1/3 and it's Paul. So it's a great idea for a contest. It takes a little bit of time to go through your collection and find cover versions. You know, I don't have as many as I thought I did, and a lot of the really horrific ones I don't actually own. So yeah, that's it from me. Thanks for watching this video. Plenty of more contest videos to do in the next week because there's a great contest on the PC. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.